What's up, fellas? How we doing this morning? It's Wake Up Mintzy, presented by the fine folks of Dude Wipes, coming to you, not live, from the Chicago office. Beautiful fall day. We're in the heart of football season. What could be, well, we're not the heart. We're at the start. But once it starts, it just feels like it's just, it's just in the heart of it. We've going to have a fun debate today. Probably a little more fun than the one last night. Obviously, I stay as far away from politics as possible, but Brandon Walker and I debating college football will be a hell of a lot more fun than whatever that was last night. And I'm excited to be in here. We're going to talk some college football week 3, NFL week 2. But before we get into that, I want to shout out Tyler Moody, as always, holding down the fort in Louisiana. Mr. Moody, how are you this morning? Good. Glad you're doing well. Want to say first things first, thinking about the people in South Louisiana, in New Orleans and Baton Rouge and everyone. Hurricane Francine making landfall today. Obviously, just praying that everything goes smoothly and it's not too bad. That's part of the deal when you live in South Louisiana, especially in early September. Hurricane season will hit you, as we've always seen, but it's a tough deal, and I just really hope all my friends and family and everyone in New Orleans, Baton Rouge, and South Louisiana, Mississippi, and Southwest Louisiana, everybody just stays safe. That's going to be a big thing to affect LSU, the Saints, and Tulane this week in football as well. All three on the road, but the hurricane thing is really, really messes with your logistics. And LSU at South Carolina, Saturday at 11 a.m. That's where College Game Day is. Tulane at Oklahoma, and the Saints at the Dallas Cowboys. That's not nothing. I mean, you're dealing with a lot of stuff when it comes to hurricane stuff, with families and just travel. It's a whole thing. So thoughts are with everybody in South Louisiana. Big week at Barstool, as always. Lots going on. I'm stoked. We got Brandon Walker today coming by in a minute. Tomorrow, we've got an all-time combo, hopefully. Well, we got an all-time guest. I don't know if I would call it a combo. Cooper Manning. First time I'm getting a Manning on Wake Up Mintzy tomorrow, so super excited to catch up with Cooper, and really appreciate him joining us. He's going to be on here tomorrow at 9. As always, Wake Up Mintzy, presented by the fine folks of Dude Wipes, cleaning up all your messes. Amazon, Target, Walmart, all over the World Wide Web. Let it rip with Dude Wipes. Look, I say it all the time on here. It's amazing when your sponsor is an amazing product, and their freaking product is a life changer. They're taking over the toilet paper world. They're becoming a massive, massive company, and that's because they've got an awesome product. And check out their social media. They're really, really funny on there as well. Some other stuff to get into. Boy, this Christian McCaffrey thing. We'll have the DraftKings Fantasy Football Factory pod. We're taping that later today. That'll be out tomorrow. I still can't get over it. There's a big debate in the NFL right now, and that is Jordan Mason, the Niners running back who had 28 carries for 146 yards and a touchdown on Monday, said he knew he was starting Friday, and they didn't announce McCaffrey was out till the inactives list before the game. I get it from game plan stuff, but Jack Mack, our friend at Barstool, brought up an interesting point. We're talking about fantasy and gambling. You're talking about millions and millions of dollars at stake, and should there be some accountability for Kyle Shanahan and the 49ers, who clearly knew he was not going to play? And I kind of think there should. I mean, I'm obviously just bitter as hell because I got screwed on this McCaffrey deal in my Bitcoin league. But, I think that we're at a point now that the gambling and fantasy are legal in the forefront that people are going to have to be more transparent. And I get football is all about secrecy and it's every edge you can get. But we're just talking about dollar amounts that are so big. And I think it's time for them to do something about that, personally. I don't know. I'm just still bitter about that on this Wednesday morning. That's for damn sure. Excited. Barstool Advisors, again this week. Stu Fine are going to be in the office. Always can't wait to catch up with him. Lots of good stuff going on. I got my fat ass, I call myself fat. I'm not that fat. I'm just a little larger. But I'm all pumped because I ran a 10K yesterday for the first time in a few months. And my legs feel like jello today, but it's all good. And then I went through, as always, we're DraftKings partners. Every Tuesday, I go through all the lines, like deep dive for an hour and a half for college and pro. And, man, we've got a lot of stuff to be excited about. First of all, Thursday Night Football this week. Dolphins hosting the Bills. What a great Thursday night game. Bills are 2.5-point underdogs in Miami. I thought the Bills defense really, really struggled against Arizona with Matt Milano, and they lost out, and they lost Jordan Poyer and Micah Hyde, their safeties. They had another big injury. Kyler Murray tore him up, so I think they might be in trouble against Tua and Tyreek and the boys on Thursday night. But looking forward to that Thursday night game. And then we did the deep dive on the college slate, which we're going to get into more with Brandon Walker when he pops in here in a minute. But there's a Friday night game that's kind of fun. We got a ranked matchup: Manhattan, Kansas, Arizona, and Kansas State. And I kind of have a strong opinion on this one. Kansas State's a 7.5-point favorite. They survived last week at Tulane, and that was, look, I've obviously support Tulane and Noah. Thought that was a completely egregious BS pass interference call in that Tulane game at the end of the game that cost Tulane a chance when they were down by 7, trying to drive the tie late, and they ended up turning it over on downs at the end of the game to lose 34-27. But now Kansas State, who's ranked, comes back at home. And I feel like they were in a spot last week where it was a survive and advance spot on the race.
Love Kansas State.
Yeah, there you go. Brandon, good morning. How are you?
Hello, how are you?
I'm good. Thank you. Genuinely, thank you for giving us 15 minutes of your time.
You're welcome. It's now my show.
Well, I'm down to talk some college football. Like I said on Twitter last night.
Give me some more about Kansas State there.
All right, so what I was saying about that game, I did. So every Tuesday, yeah. I've started this I do this process now where I do a deep, hour-and-a-half dive on college and pro lines to get a feel for them on Tuesday.
Yeah.
And I know you do research too. It's the ones you like on Tuesday are the big plays, and don't get trigger happy last minute on Saturday because that's where you do too much.
Sure.
So anyway, talking about Kansas State, had a survive and advance type week last week in NOLA.
Right.
That was down at half. That Tulane Kansas State game, by the way, Brandon, it was a mirror image of the Ole Miss Tulane game week 2 last year. Where Tulane jumped them first half, was throwing it all over the yard, and then fell off second half, and then Kansas State survived like Ole Miss survived. Thought that PI call was BS at the end. I don't know if you saw that. But Kansas State had a survive situation there. Now they're coming back home. Yeah. They're in a, quote, ranked matchup on Friday night, Manhattan, Kansas. The only thing about Arizona that's ranked is the number bomb. Have you seen them play? They had 39 to New Mexico 2 weeks ago. Survived Northern Arizona 22-10. Look, they had a great coach, Jeff Fish, who's at Washington now. They still got a great quarterback combo, and how do you say it?
Fafita and
McMillan. They've got that, but that's all they got. That's literally all they got.
Yeah, I mean that could be enough to stay in some games this year. I don't know if it'll be enough to be in this game. Kansas State's going to expose what they do poorly. They're going to be tough, and they're going to physical, and they're going to run, and I don't think Arizona's going to be able to stand up to that. I love that. I tell you what, I want the other half of that game in New Orleans last week. I'm betting them this week. I'm betting against them this week too. I like Oklahoma 13.5 against Tulane.
I thought about this. I tweeted out early thoughts because Tulane 3 years ago, they were down big in that game, and they ended up losing 48-45 because I remember we were on the stream. Look, one thing we got to bring up this week that I brought up at the top of the show, hurricane hitting South Louisiana. Yeah. That hurts Tulane, LSU, and the Saints a lot on the road. There's a lot of logistics that go with that, with families and everything. And Tulane, off that heartbreaking loss, Oklahoma, what the hell was that? They were 29 points.
That was bad. But, I don't think they're going to be that bad every week. I think they're better than that. 13.5, I kind of like a 34-13 game here.
I could see it. Like I said, I love that Tulane fought, but Tulane had their chance last week for the upset.
This is as far as Tulane teams go, I don't think this is a great one. It's not a bad one by any stretch of the imagination, but I don't think this is a top level Tulane team that can go on the road and give Oklahoma fits.
Yeah, the thing with Tulane, they've done such a good job because they don't have a big fan base, but they have money.
Yeah.
And they got that Mario Williams USC transfer receiver who's looked really good. Mintzy, the redshirt freshman quarterback, was chunking it. But I'm inclined to agree with the hurricane thing. I was looking at Tulane when I initially looked at the lines.
You agree with the hurricane thing? You said the hurricane.
No, I mean, I'm not taking Tulane, LSU, or the Saints this week when they're.
I think you just agree with yourself. Did you agree with yourself?
I agreed with myself. Yes.
Yeah. But and if you're not going to agree with yourself, who is?
There you go.
Believe in yourself one time, Ben Mintz.
All right. Some other games I want to get to. I want to talk about this Memphis-Florida State game. Yep. 11 a.m. kickoff. Memphis is freaking good this year. This is like a fourth-year starting quarterback. They've got NFL athletes.
Right.
They have speed. They're going to be fired up to play Mike Norvell, his old team.
Sure.
I don't think Florida State has a home field advantage at 11 a.m. at all after being 0-2.
Or the fact they're 0-2, and I don't think their fans are that excited, and half the stadiums are being renovated.
Yeah, Memphis plus 6.5. I think Memphis is going to win. I really do. I know it's a free fall.
Here's my only thing about that. On paper, I look at that and I was like, you circle it because Memphis is good. Florida State has not been. Can Memphis is there a template to beating Florida State? or can you beat them other ways? Because Memphis is not going to do what Boston College did. They're not going to do what Georgia Tech did. They're not going to punch them in the mouth at the line of scrimmage and run down their throat. They're going to throw it around the yard. Is that so? Are they getting away from the way you beat this Florida State team, or is this Florida State team so bad there's multiple ways to beat them?
I think that I agree that Boston College and Georgia Tech shortened those games. They did a great job with that. But I think Memphis has just got a way more explosive offense than Florida State does. And I think Memphis, I know their defense may not be great, but they got a couple big guys in the middle to where they shouldn't just – I mean, Florida State's going to be able to run on them, but I don't know that they're going to be able to just totally gash them.
To me, it's all about the start in this game. If Florida State comes out and falls down 7-0, they might quit. They might just lay down and let Memphis rub their belly all day long. If Florida State comes out and scores 2 early first-quarter touchdowns and plays from ahead and gets that feeling, they haven't had that this year, I feel like it's a dangerous spot. I would not bet Memphis is all I'm saying.
Okay.
I don't know that I'd bet Florida State either.
Yeah, I thought Memphis was the best G5 team coming in this year, and I've seen nothing. I mean, granted, they blew out Troy.
Yeah.
Troy's not Troy anymore. They're just the name. Troy and App State both have good names and look like shit right now from what I'm seeing.
Question. Vanderbilt is at Georgia State.
Yeah, 10.5. Vanderbilt laying double digits on the road.
On the road, fine. It's Georgia State. Like this isn't going to Athens. This isn't going to even going to Georgia Southern. I don't think Georgia State has a fan base. There's like 9 of them. Vanderbilt minus 10.5. Vanderbilt's already beaten Virginia Tech. They look good in week 2. What 10.5 seems like a soft number here.
Yeah, it does. And man, Pavia, is that how you say it?
Diego Pavia.
Yeah, Pavia. They found a dude there. And getting him and then getting Jerry Kill as like an offensive assistant, with all his expertise, man, you got to give Vandy credit because it just shows you what a quarterback can do to turn around a team.
Well, it's not just that. They know how they play, and they're not asking him to throw 50 times a game. They're going to run the ball. He's going to run the ball. They're going to physically use their SEC athletes against Georgia State athletes. I think 10.5. I think you should get it now. I think it'll be 14 by the time it kicks off.
Okay, I was looking at that. It's just still weird seeing.
I know it's Vanderbilt.
Yeah, that's the thing. The laying double digits on the road.
Here's the thing: betting Vanderbilt week 1 against Virginia Tech doesn't feel right. It doesn't feel good. But if you did it, you won money.
I did it because of you.
Yeah,
Thank
right.
you.
So I think Vanderbilt might be the early season team here that the books haven't caught up with yet.
No, that's very possible because the power ranking on them was not very strong going in for obvious reasons. Let's talk about LSU, South Carolina. LSU laying 7. The thing about South Carolina, first of all, they got all of us last week because we trusted Brock Vandagriff, and we were fools for that, and he can't throw forward passes. South Carolina had a horrible effort week 1. Should have lost to Old Dominion. They flushed it. They had a good effort week 2. They went on the road. They took care of business. The thing about South Carolina's identity, year after year, they play down to crappy G5 teams, and then they always pull an upset at home in an SEC game. This is kind of what they do.
Yeah.
And LSU's dealing with the hurricane thing. I'm not saying LSU loses, but there's no chance I'm laying 7.
There's a third thing you're not saying.
LSU can't run the ball.
LSU's not very good.
No.
They're not very good. Like their quarterback, they're going to do the exact same thing they did last year with their quarterback. He's going to put up a lot of numbers on a team that's just not all that good. The defense hasn't come all that far. They got pushed around by Nichols. They got pushed around. South Carolina pushed Kentucky around, and I think South Carolina defensively, I mean, they're physical as fuck. I think they could push them around. Like I think South Carolina can win the game.
I think they can. I think it's going to be really, really close, and Nussmeier's going to have to play his ass off for LSU to win this game and pull it out. I lean South Carolina plus 7. Their crowd's going to be fired up. College game days there. Look, Columbia, South Carolina, I got to give them credit. Their fan base is awesome. I mean, they've had a lot of lean years, and they packed that thing.
Kind of bullshit they get game day, though, for LSU South Carolina.
I know. What a week. I know. Yeah. I thought the same thing, but I think South Carolina's got a real chance there. And, I mean, I agree that LSU can throw, and that's all they can do. By the way, last LSU thing. This Harold Perkins middle linebacker thing, is this the stupidest personnel thing we've ever seen in sports? Like, look at the NFL. The edge guys get all the money for a reason.
Yeah.
Why are they playing him inside? We saw him wreck games.
Yeah, it's like if Miami put Cam Ward at slot receiver. That's what it's
like.
Doing. Yeah.
I just cannot fathom why LSU's playing Harold Perkins inside. Some other games to touch on. I know
no, hold on. What's your line at Wake Forest?
It's Ole Miss by 23.5. So Wake Forest quarterback is Bachmeier, the former Boise and Louisiana Tech quarterback. He threw for 403 against Virginia last week.
Yeah, and a loss.
I just think the Ole Miss thing, look, I mean, I'm always like the road favorite thing's always weird, but if Wake's going to have any success, it's through the air. They're not going to be able to run on Ole Miss's front, but Ole Miss does have their corners. Trey Amos from Bama, transfer looks good, but the corners, like they've got athletes, but a lot of them are unproven still. And so maybe they can throw against Ole Miss a little bit. But, man, Lane Kiffin and Ole Miss, I'll tell you what they do well. They beat the shit out of bad teams, man.
Yeah.
They do that, and I don't see this being really any kind of a problem.
UCF -2.5 at TCU is tickling my
Which side?
tickling my titties. UCF.
You like UCF? I
don't
leaning.
think TCU is very good.
I did think TCU, that Stanford game, I had Stanford.
Yeah.
I got away with murder in that game. TCU outgained them over 2.5 to 1. TCU fumbled on their one. I mean, I know TCU may not be very good. I don't know. UCF, their run defense last year was like the worst in college football. KJ did play well against Sam Houston last week. He looked a little shaky week 1. That was kind of one I wasn't real sure on. Some other ones, I got a couple other ones to bring up. What do you think about this? Oregon State still in Washington State.
16.5.
They still have college football programs despite not being in the Big 12, Pac-12. That was a big win for Washington State last week. Civil War, Oregon's laying 16.5.
Well, they don't call it that anymore, but you're an Ole Miss fan. Anytime you get to say Civil War, you say it, right?
Well, the game formerly known as the Civil War. I don't know, tons. Oregon State won 21-0, I believe, at San Diego State last week.
Yeah.
Obviously, they had a mass exodus with Jonathan Smith and them.
Yeah.
But Oregon hasn't looked very good the last 2 weeks.
They look bad. Of course, Boise State is good. And maybe a 37-34 win over Boise State isn't bad.
That's true. They have the best running back in the country.
That's something we got to figure out. I'm not going to touch it. I think Oregon has a gigantic, massive talent advantage and a huge, gigantic pussy problem. And I don't know how to bet those teams.
Okay.
Because, they couldn't score. They could move the ball against Idaho, but when it came time to score, they couldn't do it. They couldn't put Boise State away. They got a pussy problem, but they've got a huge talent advantage. I'm not touching that game.
Okay. I just, on principle, I'm nothing or Oregon State. I'm not ever laying on the road. I just know how much this game means to Oregon State.
Yeah.
Washington, Apple Cup. Washington's got 11 new starters. That one's.
I don't think they're very good either, and I've seen their quarterback play a lot. I'm not going to bet on him.
It's just hard, man. 11 new starters and a new coach on offense. That's just too much. That's a rivalry game. I don't have a strong read on that one. There's still some other
Tell me a reason Boston College.
I like BC plus 17.
Can't, with that quarterback and their running game, can't move the chains long enough to keep Missouri off the field a little bit and keep that within 17 points.
I like it, and that was one I was going to bring. You beat me to bring it up. Missouri obviously has Cook and Luther Burden, and they can really sling it.
2 shutouts so far. Their defense is not that good.
But they played Buffalo and who?
Yeah.
And the thing is, Missouri lost Blake Baker. They had first-round Darius Robinson. They lost 3 guys in the secondary of the NFL. They got a new defensive coordinator. They hired the South Alabama defensive coordinator, but it's Corey Batum. And I agree. I think BC. I just think BC. Bill O'Brien has them looking like a football team, and they've got the Castellanos, dual threat quarterback, the Ward transfer from Florida State's good running the ball. And I've said this before. I'm curious what you know. Man, the rules changing on the clock, first down thing. You can shorten these games. It helps.
Yeah.
It helps underdogs and it helps unders.
One more, and I got to get out of here.
Okay.
A&M shouldn't be a 4.5-point favorite on anybody on the road.
I agree.
Anybody.
I agree.
Me and you. They should not be a 4.5-point favorite. I know Florida wasn't great against Miami. Miami might be really, really fucking good.
Very.
I think Florida beats A&M at home.
I'm Florida or nothing. Plus 4.5. I agree.
Florida.
Yeah, I don't know how A&M can lay the points.
Yeah. Well, they got a bad quarterback. They got no weapons. They're on the backup running backs. Their defense is okay, I guess. And Florida does have a freshman quarterback playing.
They going to start he looked good last week.
He did say at the worst it's going to be both of them. But I like Florida to win the game, and I like Florida to win the game. And I'm not really. It doesn't even feel like that big of a stretch to me.
No, not at all. I feel like it should be almost a pick 'em game in the swamp. Yeah. I got 2 really quick ones.
Go.
Bama, Wisconsin. Explain to me when I was going through this game. Look, I hate laying points on the road. Blah blah blah.
Yeah.
I'm looking at a team total play here because the over-under is 50.5. Bama's a 16-point favorite. That means Wisconsin's total is going to be 16.5, 17, or 17.5. If it's 17.5, I love the under. How are they that air raid? How are they going to score?
Yeah.
It's just look. I thought Fickle. Everybody thought it was a great hire for a million reasons.
Yeah.
But where you're like, man, I'm going to go to Wisconsin and I'm going to go
Change
away
the
from
way they play.
Yeah, I'm going to
football.
go from our power offensive line to getting 3-star kids to run the air raid in Wisconsin.
Yeah.
One of the stupidest coaching decisions of all time. And the last one's Georgia, Kentucky. I don't know about the laying 24. I just don't see how Kentucky can. I mean, they can't throw. Georgia has an unbelievable run defense. I don't see how are they going to get 200 yards?
My only thing with them is Stoops, for a decade, has been a better coach than this. They got embarrassed last week. They got fucking embarrassed. I don't know that Stoops is the kind of guy to roll over and play dead. So I wouldn't bet Georgia simply because I think Kentucky has at least a punch in their system. But I also wouldn't bet Kentucky because they look so fucking bad.
Yeah, I think it's an under situation because remember 2 years ago, Georgia beat them 16-6 2 years ago. Kentucky will fight on defense. I just don't see how they can move
What's
the ball.
the total?
It's 40. Let me see it. It's 4. I got it right here. 40. Is it 43? Let me see. Where's the damn thing? It's not very high. I know it was mid-40s, and I'm struggling to find it. I think it's 43.
Okay, 43.
Yeah. All right. Well, Brandon,
I'm leaving.
I know you're busy.
Yeah.
Unnecessary.
Thank you.
Everything wrong. Congrats on 1 year on Mostly Sports.
Thank you.
Yeah, man.
Roll Tide.
Roll Tide. I don't know. Okay. Brandon Walker, appreciate him joining us, talking some college football this morning. As always, get your lines on DraftKings. Check out all their boosts and parlays and all kinds of stuff. They give you so much free value. I've been this year, obviously, the first year I've really fired big on DraftKings, and man, I just can't say enough how much I'm enjoying all the free bets we're getting. And, they did the no sweat touchdown bet thing the first week in NFL where you had 4 of them and you got your bonus bet back. Like I hit Jaden Daniels 17-1, 2 touchdowns Sunday. And anytime they give you these free $20 bets or these 50% or 100% boosts, man, just go for the moon. Who cares? Put together same game parlay. Don't take something that's even money to try to win $20. Just fire something that can win $200 or $300 and you're free rolling. And I love DraftKings for giving us all these opportunities. Deposit with code Mintzy. Put in $5 and you get free 200. And we're about to be joined here by Moody. We got you?
Yeah, I'm here now. I'm here. You hear me?
We're going to talk some ball with Tyler Moody in a sec if he can get on here.
Can
Appreciate Brandon, though.
I think he's muted
for joining us. And okay, there's Moody. What's up, Moody? How are you this morning?
Can you hear me, though? You can't hear me. You're muted in studio. Somebody muted something in studio. You're not gonna be able to hear me, bud. Sorry. I'll text Stefan.
I got to hit one adjustment, Moody. I got to hit one adjustment. For a second. All right, Moody, you there?
Can you hear me now?
Yep. Stefan, shout out Stefan with production. My dumbass, when we've had trouble with this, there's a button back there, the 7 button, that you have to turn on, and that's the problem. And it's Stefan, shout out Stefan for production. He's like, I need you to learn one thing. And it was that. So right when I couldn't hear you, I knew what it was.
Well, we should probably check that before the show starts. Also, I do want to ask you, do you realize that I don't just automatically connect? Like when we started out the show and you're like, Moody, are you there? You realize I have to actually connect to vMix, right? I'm not just magically ready to roll, correct?
I can't say that I realized that, but I did now. And it's good to see you. Good to hear your voice. Appreciate you holding the fort. Yeah, holding the fort back in Louisiana. Always good to catch up with Walker, man. Fun talking some college football with him. And then I'm looking forward to us. We're taping Fantasy Football Factory coming up here in a minute.
I will say this. Obviously I work a lot on Saturday, so I don't get a chance to watch these football games. I have Brandon Walker and you as my main 2 sources right now for my college football information. So I'm putting a ton of trust in what I hear from you guys. And I will say, I'll give Brandon some credit. Brandon, he seems to be one of the people at Barstool that actually knows his shit. Brandon's legitimate. I feel like everything that I hear from him ends up playing out quite often on the field, and that you can actually trust what Brandon Walker's telling you. So shout out Brandon for his information because he seems to be pretty damn good.
I give Brandon, like I said, I know we go at it a lot, but he's really smart in that he focuses and goes all in on college football up here. And he doesn't overforce NFL. And then on his college picks, Moody, this is the thing we talked about with Stu Feiner a lot. It's about being the selective aggressive. And Brandon gives out 6 to 8 picks on Saturday. He doesn't give out 15 or 20. And he finds some stuff. Like he had Illinois +4 to beat Kansas. That was a great pick the other day.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I mean,
and he was on that Vandy Virginia Tech week 1, Vandy +13.5. That was a sick call. So shout out Brandon. Appreciate him joining us this morning. And even though the football team he cheers for is struggling, I went through NFL week 2, and I'm getting super pumped about it. Man, there's a bunch of big games. Let's just start with the Saints-Cowboys thing on Sunday. I just can't wait to see this game. I brought up the hurricane thing twice already. I do think that affects LSU, the Saints, and Tulane a lot this week.
You think that affects them because of their travel or the fans not showing up for travel?
Their travel. The fans, it's all road games, so I don't think that's what I'm worried about. I'm saying more like when it comes to like your families and logistics. And I'm pretty sure the Saints got out of New Orleans early and just went to Dallas.
Right. And for that reason, I don't know that it affects the New Orleans Saints as much as it does these college teams. I think when you have professionals that have done it for so long, I don't think it's going to impact them near as much. And the fact that they've already gotten out of South Louisiana, they're in Dallas. I think you may be correct on the LSU and Tulane front. I'm not going to factor that into what I'm seeing for Sunday personally.
Okay, well, this Cowboys-Saints thing, I'm going to sit back and watch it. Saints are 6.5-point underdogs at Dallas, 45.5. Look, Dallas looks legit as hell. And when people can spin all the narratives they want on the Dak playoff stuff. This is a team that's won 12 games, gone 12-5 3 years in a row. And in pro football, you don't see that very often. And the Mike Zimmer hire, like obviously everybody was talking about them losing Dan Quinn. He was a great defensive coordinator. Zimmer is too. Mm-hmm. And I don't know. And, a lot was made about the Dak and CeeDee Lamb contract stuff, but they got both figured out. They both look great on Sunday. I mean, I don't know. I feel like we were a little worried about some stuff with Dallas going into the year that I'm no longer very worried about. That's how I would say it.
No, I mean, the Cowboys checked all the boxes in week 1. I think they're going to be tested much more defensively against this Saints team in week 2, though. The Saints looked incredible. I realize it was Bryce Young, but this Saints defense has the pieces to beat you. I mean, there's no doubt about it. I expect this to be a lower scoring game than what we saw from the Cowboys last week. They just had their way with the Browns. And I feel like the Browns defensively were worn out in the second half. The Cowboys took advantage of that. I don't think that's going to be the case this week. I think the Saints are going to play pretty good football game, and I think we'll have a great one on hand. I don't want to get my picks out yet because I can do that later in the week. But I do think the Saints are, without question, going to be in this game late. I'm a Cowboys fan. You're the Saints fan. I expect this to be a great contest at the moment.
My thing on the Saints on this one, I'm not going in and saying expecting to win it. I just want to see them compete. I feel like, this part of the schedule, they had to win week 1. You got at Dallas, you got Philly at home next week, at Atlanta, at KC on Monday night, first 5. I mean, if you get to 3-2, you're ecstatic. If you're 2-3 but you beat Atlanta, you're still fine because of the division thing. But I kind of expect them to lose at Dallas and at KC. But Philly at home, the dome could be rocking next week. So we'll see. All right, Thursday night, Bills at Miami. Fun one here. Miami's 2.5, over-under's like 48.5 or 49. I don't see how Buffalo can stop Miami right now with what I saw of Buffalo's defense, man. They lost a lot this offseason. Matt Milano, their star linebacker's out. They're not the same when he's out. They've already got some injuries. Arizona went up and down the field against them. I think Miami could eat. And, Miami's going to be fired up. This is a rivalry game, AFC East. It's a revenge match from that game that cost Miami, for the AFC East title at the end of the year last year. I kind of feel like Miami, you're going to see a big effort here. What do you think?
I think it could be the best game of the entire week, and it's, the Thursday night game. I expect this to be high scoring. We saw Kyler Murray have his way with the Buffalo defense in the first half. I thought their adjustments they made in the second half were really good last week, especially offensively. Buffalo looked like the team I expected them to look like in the second half of that game. But Miami is more complete than Arizona could ever dream of being. That Arizona defense is not good. Miami's defense is not great, but it's better than what Arizona's putting out there. I think this is going to be this is probably the best game of the week. I don't know who's going to win this one. I'm going to stay away from picking a side right here because I truly do not know. But I think that you're going to see a back-and-forth contest, and I expect Josh Allen to make some plays late because there's a lot of people hating on Josh Allen after week 1. And I thought he played phenomenal down the stretch. The plays he made in the second half of that game, he started to find it with Khalil Shakir.
Coleman looked all right. The rookie looked all right,
Coleman looked fine. I don't think there's anything to worry about with Josh Allen. I saw people worried about Josh Allen. I have nothing to worry about with Josh Allen. But I think this could be the game of the week and possibly should be.
Yeah, I love that that's the Thursday night game to kick it off. Some other NFL stuff to run through. 49ers are 6 at Minnesota. Sam Darnold, unbelievable week 1 performance. Started 10 of 10 for 135. This game smells ratty to me. And I know the Niners looked awesome on Monday night, but what do I always say? One of the all-time gambling fallacies. You're never when you look good, or you're never as good or as bad as you look in the primetime Monday night or Sunday night games. Everybody saw 49ers dominate. The narrative on Minnesota, despite how they looked week 1, is still that they're struggling. They're pretty good at home. I don't know if I can take the Vikings +6, but I know I'm not taking the Niners.
I don't trust Minnesota just yet. I think they beat a bad team last week. I think that's really what it comes down to for me. I think they beat a team that's not anywhere near the stratosphere that the San Francisco 49ers are in. So I'm going to lean the 49ers way in this one. I just cannot get behind Minnesota. Sam Darnold, we have seen him play a good game before and then play an awful game. He is the epitome of inconsistent. So for me to be riding with Sam Darnold, I just flat out cannot do that. I think you saw nothing from San Francisco last week that suggested they're not the same 49ers team we've seen for the last 2 years. So I expect them to be ready to go. These are the kind of opponents they come out and handle. I like San Francisco in this spot. I just can't get behind Minnesota just yet. Sam Darnold's going to have to go prove it to me for multiple weeks before I can have any faith in the Minnesota Vikings.
All right, some other deep dives just running through the week 2 games. Looking at them. Seattle's at New England. How about a battle of 1-0 teams here? Seattle and New England. Who would have thunk it? I just was looking at under 38.5. I just don't see where the points are going to come from in this game. New England's going to grind it out. That's what they're trying to do this year with Brissett at quarterback, and their defense looks pretty good.
Yeah, this is one that I'm just good. This is at the bottom of my list. I don't care about this game. I think neither team is that good. But if I was going to go anywhere, it would probably be the under. I don't expect the Patriots to play many high-scoring games this entire season. I mean, they're built around that defense. The defense looked incredible against Cincinnati in week 1. I trend to continue. I like the under in this game, but I don't trust either one of these teams as far as a real legitimate contender.
Rams and Cardinals. I can't believe that Arizona's favored in this game. Why is Arizona? I know Arizona's they're not bad. They fought at the end of last year. They look good at Buffalo. I get all that, but dude, have you seen McVay's record against Arizona? Has he ever lost to him? I literally don't think he's lost to him.
No, he absolutely dominates him.
No, and I just can't believe Arizona's a 1.5 point favorite here at home. I thought, and you and I talked about it. I thought the Stafford game Sunday night was so impressive. Cooper Kupp looks like he's back because he's healthy. He had 21 targets in a game Sunday, which is insane. I'm looking out for Tyler Johnson to step up with Puka Nacua out. I thought he looked really good second half, but I'm kind of leaning the Rams here in this game.
It feels like a trap game, though. I just don't like that line at all. I feel like the Rams are the better team. Vegas is trying to tell you that Arizona's got a real shot here, though. I'm going to take the over. That's where I'm at. I'm on the over in this game. I'm not going to touch a winner. I think either one of these teams could win. They're very similar. They both have bad defenses. Quarterback play looked great from both teams in week 1. I think the offenses are fine. The defenses are bad. I expect a lot of points in this one. It's probably my favorite over of the week.
All right. Fun one in Detroit. Tampa Bay at Detroit. Rematch of the playoff game that was 31-24. Detroit. Over-under is high, 51.5. Detroit is 7-point favorite. I hate to always say a cop-out because I like to have an opinion on every game, but, man, I think this line looks about right. When you look at Detroit as a 7-point favorite over Tampa at home, Tampa looked really good in the passing game. Dude, Baker Mayfield on third down is crazy. He's like the second best quarterback on third down behind Mahomes. And he showed it again on Sunday against Washington. They just couldn't get off the field. But I'm excited about this game. I thought Detroit's defense looks improved. I know that they revamped that secondary. They got a good front. Obviously, Aiden Hutchinson's elite. But I'm just very much looking forward to watching this Detroit-Tampa playoff rematch. I don't know that I have a strong opinion. Do you?
No, and also don't know why your camera just froze. I'm going to have to try and figure that out from here. This is the frustrating thing with me being in Shreveport is that I can't actually do anything. So I don't know why your camera's frozen at the moment though, Mintzy.
But my audio's working.
Your audio's fine. Your camera's not working. I can try and.
No, it's fine. Let's just talk. Let's just talk about it.
Yeah,
we're talking. All right, Detroit, Tampa. Any thoughts?
Detroit's looked great at the end of that game. I think what we learned about Detroit is that Dan Campbell knows his team. The decisions that they made down the stretch to win that football game by putting the ball on the ground in David Montgomery's hands behind that offensive line it was pure genius because Jared Goff looked like a nervous wreck down the stretch. I mean,
second half, he tried to blow that game. They were up 17-3.
Lose them that game, and it's like, man, I thought what Dan Campbell and that coaching staff decided to do at the end by taking the ball out of his hands, putting it in David Montgomery's hands was just genius. I think you're going to see a ton of that in this game. I expect the Lions to run the ball down Tampa Bay's throat, and I like the Lions in this spot. But Tampa looked great in week 1. I'm just not fully buying that Baker Mayfield's going to throw for 300 yards and 3 touchdowns every week. That Washington secondary is flat out awful. I still like the Lions here. I expect the regression to start for Tampa Bay.
Okay, there you go. The Chargers going to Carolina. Could be an ugly game. Nice win for the Chargers week 1, though. J.K. Dobbins back. He's had a lot of injuries. He had 130-something yards, I believe. Harbaugh got his first win as a Chargers coach. The Carolina's terrible. Chargers are 6.5. I don't know. It's like one of those spots where I never could take Carolina, but I kind of think this is going to be – I think the Chargers are going to be playing a lot of unders this year, so I was kind of looking under 38.5. In that one was kind of my thoughts. I just don't think the Chargers have the firepower to play high-scoring games this year. I think you're going to look at them running the ball, playing defense. They're losing Keenan Allen and Mike Williams. They just don't have the weapons they used to. Ladd McConkey did score in his first game. Quentin Johnson showed signs of a pulse after a disastrous rookie year, but I don't know. I just can't lay the 6.5 on the road there. I just think it looks kind of a little fishy in that Chargers-Panthers game. Oh, there you go. You got it fixed.
There we go. Working. Yeah.
Got a side cam, dude. I don't know. I feel like I don't look as good for the side. But thank you for working some magic.
Yeah, we're just trying to get you unfrozen there. We just opened up another layer. We'll make it work.
There you go. Chargers, Panthers. You got anything? Just crappy game.
Yeah. Well, I actually love the Chargers here, and that's because I'm just fading Carolina. This is where I'm at right now. I'm fading Carolina, and I'm fading the Giants. They're the 2 worst teams in the NFL, in my personal opinion. Bryce Young, what we've seen from him so far has been absolutely awful. I expect more of the same. I like the Chargers defense this week. I'm going to be taking them more than likely on the daily fantasy side. I like Justin Herbert to have a good game, and I really like the running game here for the Chargers. Is it going to be J.K. Dobbins? I think here's what I think right now for the Chargers. In between the 20s, it's J.K. Dobbins. Inside the 20, it's Gus Edwards. That's what they need to be. I think that's what you're going to see moving forward. The vision is there still for J.K. Dobbins. He looks like a real NFL running back, and the elite vision. The speed is certainly not quite what it once was. Gus Edwards is just a dude, though. Gus Edwards is not a good running back, but he is a great power back inside the 20. So I expect 20-20, J.K. Dobbins, inside the 20, Gus Edwards. Gus Edwards to score a touchdown. The Chargers defense to play well. Justin Herbert to play well. Chargers win this game.
Okay. You mentioned the Giants might have a spot to go against them here. They're plus 1.5 at Washington. Obviously, both teams aren't very good, but I trust the quarterback for the Commanders a lot more than I trust the one for the Giants. And I also think Washington's going to be fired. It's Daniel's first home game. New ownership, a lot of new energy. Even with getting blown out last week, I kind of expect the stadium to be fired up Sunday.
If there is going to be a game this entire season where Daniel Jones looks good, it better be against this Washington defense because they are one of the worst in the NFL. And if Daniel Jones cannot have success against this Washington defense, he is not going to have success the entire season. He better show up in week 2. This is your chance for us to not make fun of you for the rest of your life, Daniel Jones. You cannot go out there and lay another egg against a defense that's a bottom 5 defense, or you just I've already been all over it. You've heard me say it for 2 years. He's the worst quarterback in the NFL. I hate watching Daniel Jones. I love watching him get hit, though. I just expect more of the same here. I think Jaden Daniels and this Washington team are going to be just good enough. I don't think they're a good football team, especially defensively, but I think they'll be just good enough to beat the highly incompetent New York Giants. And I'm going to go ahead and take them, what is it, plus 1.5?
Yeah, Washington's fair, but minus 1.5.
Yeah, 1.5. So I'm going to take Washington minus 1.5 then.
I like that. It's bad for Daniel Jones when they're having when Schefter's coming out and announcing he's still the starter for week 2, and that's already a thing to announce he's still starting in week 2 after he got a 4-year, $160 million deal.
Who's the backup right now?
Tyrod Taylor. No, Taylor's the Jet. The Giants is Drew Lock.
They're twins. Daniel Jones and Drew Lock might as well be twins. I mean, Lock can't run it quite as well, but they both are just they're man. That's brutal. The Giants have absolutely butchered it. The Giants and Panthers have butchered their teams, and I feel so bad for their fan bases, man. It's just you can't make decisions at the quarterback position and be that wrong and then hand them a bunch of money on top of it.
Yeah, it's completely another train wreck. New York Jets by 4 at Tennessee. Jets off the Monday night game. Rodgers threw for like 167. I thought, made a couple good throws. Garrett Wilson looked good. The Lazard play looked good, but a little inconsistent. Obviously they were playing a great defense in the Niners. I don't know that the Jets can, I just don't know if I can lay 4 on the road with them right now. I think Levis had a disastrous week 1, blew that game in Chicago, but last year he played a lot better at home than he did on the road. I just don't know that I can trust the Jets laying 4 here on the road.
I don't know that I can trust Will Levis to cover anything either. I don't trust him. I think the Jets defense will look much better against an incompetent quarterback. If I'm leaning anyway, it's the Jets here. There's no way I can get behind anything Tennessee has shown me just so far. And I don't trust Will Levis either. I haven't seen anything from him besides throw it up to DeAndre Hopkins, let Hopkins go make some plays. That's what we saw last year whenever Levis had good games. It was either somebody broke free, wide open downfield because of a busted coverage, or he just threw it up to Hopkins and Hopkins went and bailed him out. That's not going to work against a defense like the Jets, especially if Sauce Gardner's good to go. I cannot find any way that Will Levis has success against the Jets defense.
Sunday night, fun one. Chicago Bears at Houston. Caleb Williams against C.J. Stroud. Houston's a 6.5-point favorite. I mean, this comes down to Caleb Williams got to play a hell of a lot better football game because, I know Chicago has a good defense. They pulled that game out last week, but, man, you're playing on the road against C.J. Stroud and Houston and their weapons. They're going to score some points. I mean, they are, period. So if Chicago's going to win this game or compete, Caleb Williams got to play a hell of a lot better in the story.
If they're going to win, Caleb Williams will look like a number 1 pick in this game. I don't think that's going to happen. I love Houston in this spot.
Yeah,
there was too many. Granted, let's cut him a little slack. It's game 1. I'm sure there's a ton of nerves and pressure, but he missed some wide open throws that you can't miss. He took some bad sacks, which I feel like those are 2 things that are going to happen to a rookie in their first start. So I'm not ready to completely give up on Caleb Williams because of 1 game. But damn, he better start to show it soon because people will hate. That's the thing about this new era of social media and everything. Like, you better be freaking good or your ass is going to get crucified out there. And the narrative can turn on you so quickly that it's difficult to actually get back to even, I guess, that it's, at least in the minds of the fans.
Agreed. Cleveland Browns +3 at Jacksonville. I mean, I got to see if Cleveland's offensive tackles are back this week because they're not. The way they couldn't stop the pass rush. The Jaguars with Josh Allen, they got some dudes that can rush the passer. I mean, I thought the Jags, they gave away that game, but they actually looked good week 1. They should have won that game in Miami. They blew it, but I'm leaning Jacksonville here, man. Cleveland looks like a mess. I'm leaning only 3.
Yeah, obviously I'm a Jacksonville guy. I still believe in Trevor Lawrence. I expect this to be a lower scoring game. I like the under on this one. That's where I'm leaning. Yeah, I like the under in this game a lot, to be honest. Probably going to be one of the plays that I give out this week. Just the Cleveland defense will be better. The Cowboys, it started snowballing last week for Cleveland. They could get nothing going offensively. That defense was on the field the entire game. They wore out late. The Cowboys pulled away. I expect this to be a close game, a low scoring game. And I love the under in this contest, Ben.
I could see that. I just don't see any reason why I think Cleveland's offense is going to play well right now, especially if this tackle's out in the way Watson's throwing. No Chubb. I mean, they just look like – I know Dallas has a super elite defense, though, so I'm not going to discount that at all. But, man, they just look like
I am not ready to be as down on Cleveland as everybody else is. The whole world is selling Cleveland stock. I'm holding. You know what I mean? That's a talented roster, especially defensively. They've got a ton of talent on that defense. I just feel like it just started snowballing. It got away. I'm not ready to sell on Cleveland just yet. Am I worried about Deshaun Watson? Hell yeah, as everyone should be. But I think the overall talent on that roster is still there, and I think they're going to be very competitive against Jacksonville. I'm not sure who's going to win that one. It's going to depend on if Deshaun Watson shows up and looks like the old Deshaun Watson. If that happens, I think Cleveland wins. If he doesn't, he plays poorly again, Jacksonville comes out on top.
Raiders cross-country game at Baltimore noon. Do you give the Raiders – there's 9.5. Do you give the Raiders any chance? I don't really.
No, I don't. I think this is a great game for Derrick Henry to destroy them in the second half, right? it's like 17-7 at halftime or something, and then they just run it down their throats with Derrick Henry in the second half. That's kind of what I think happens.
Yeah, I don't have a lot to add on that one. Man, the most interesting matchup, but maybe not the best game because of how they look, but Bengals at Chiefs, 325 game. You know, look at the games through the years. The Bengals beat them twice at home in the regular season. They split the 2 AFC championship games. I think this bodes very bad for Cincinnati. We've seen these slow starts with them the last couple of years. T. Higgins being hurt, the Chase thing, contract thing. They didn't look ready last week. And I think the Chiefs are going to be really up for this game because of the past games against the Bengals. And I'll tell you what else to look for. The Bengals have a pretty good pass defense and not a great run defense. Watch out for Isaiah Pacheco to have a big one in this game. But I like the Chiefs here. I know that that's a public side at 5.5, but I just feel like the Chiefs are going to really take this serious because of all the battles with the Bengals and the Burrow head. You know, there's just been a lot between these teams, and I just don't think Cincinnati is you know, maybe if this game was in week 6 or 7 when they got rolling, they'd have a chance, but right now they just look like a mess, and I don't think this is the spot to get right in week 2.
It's been a long time since Kansas City has shown us anything that would make us not trust in them. You know, and they're better this year than they were last year, in my personal opinion. I realize they lost a few pieces defensively, but they got better offensively. Xavier Worthy being out there. Rashee Rice looks so damn fast as well. I mean, there is speed all over this offense once again for the Chiefs. I think they're going to be tough to beat any week this season. I don't know. I mean, if you told me right now you looked up and Kansas City was 15-2, 16-1 at the end of the season, I would not be surprised in the slightest. They have the defense to beat you, the offense to beat you. If the passing game's not there, like you just mentioned, they've got Pacheco. I love Kansas City. How could you not at this point? On the other side, is T. Higgins going to play? If he doesn't play, that's such a big piece for Joe Burrow. Jamar Chase gets bracketed sometimes. They double team the shit out of him.
They lost Tyler Boyd out of the slot. It was reliable in the slot. He's in Tennessee now.
Exactly, and all of their pieces behind are young. I don't know, man. Gesicki's there at tight end, but he's not somebody that's going to pop off the screen for you. So it's tough to get excited about Cincinnati. It really, really is.
Yeah, I have a lot of concerns, and I agree with you. Steelers are 2.5 at Denver. Boy, Bo Nix looked bad week 1, and now he's got to play the Steelers, dude.
I was pretty spot on with everything I said in week 1, but damn, I was wrong about Bo Nix. I might have been wrong about Bo Nix.
Ooh, I was too. That's what I get for looking at preseason too much.
Mm-hmm. I felt really good. I mean, I pretty much, I didn't really miss much from all my takes from week 1, but damn, I might have been wrong on Bo Nix. He couldn't throw the football more than 5 yards down the field. I mean, every single throw that he made was literally 3-yard passes. And then he was locked on to Courtland Sutton. There was one time where he threw into quadruple coverage trying to get it to Courtland Sutton. They double-teamed Sutton the entire game, and they took him out of the contest. And Pittsburgh is very, very smart. I don't think they're a very talented roster, but damn, they're well coached, and they show up defensively especially. I think it's going to be another tough game here for Bo Nix. I like the under in this one.
It's 37.5, but I still think that's too high.
I'll tell you one thing I like, and I don't know what the number is. We need to look it up, but I will probably take this as Bo Nix over rushing yards. He is faster than people realize. He can scramble. He ran for a touchdown at the end of that game. I think they're going to use his legs a little bit more. They already had him rolling out a lot early in the game. I expect him to use his legs, and his rushing number is going to be low. It can't be more than like 13, 14, 15 yards, something like that. I like Bo Nix to run the football just a bit. Let's see what it is.
All right. Check it out. As always, checking out DraftKings where they got all the props up. Love DK, man. It's like I said, I'm having so much fun on DraftKings so far. They had that deposit match bonus from up to 25% too, and it's just fun, all the little $20 bets and stuff. I think it's great. Are the props up yet, though, on Wednesday? They may not be up yet.
No, I'm not seeing his rushing props.
Those usually come up Friday. All right, final game this week's Monday night, Battle of the Dirty Birds. All right, I thought Cousins was going to struggle in week 1 against the Pittsburgh. Really good defense, and it being game 1 off the Achilles. But I thought he didn't really look good throwing the ball. I'm kind of curious, do you give them a shot at Philly week 2? Philly's 6.5-point favorite.
I just think Philly's going to be – I think we have – Philly again, the team that we watched for the first 13 weeks last year, 10 weeks. I think that's the team that we have. I think they're going, especially with Saquon Barkley in the backfield. Now they're going to run the football with him. They're going to be balanced. They're going to be consistent. I think it's going to take somebody's A-plus game to beat Philadelphia. This is one of the more talented rosters in the NFL from top to bottom. Excuse me. So I don't see any reason Philly loses this game. I expect Philadelphia to be a top 2 to 3 seed going into the playoffs in the NFC. So, yeah, this is just a game where they don't lose unless they implode for some reason.
Oh, hell yeah. But everything else is good. Love talking. Man, I just love football. See, man, I love football. Man, I love fall. I mean, this is so much fun going deep dives, talking fantasy and DraftKings and all that. I want to shout out Brandon Walker for coming in. It was fun talking some college ball. Cooper Manning tomorrow, 2 Ole Miss legends chopping it up. Can't wait for that tomorrow morning on Wake Up Mintzy. Shout out Dude Wipes and Stella Blue for sponsoring us. We're going to get out of here, and we'll see you guys tomorrow morning with Cooper Manning on Wake Up Mintzy. Thank y'all for joining us.